Lots of reactions coming in. Donald Trump saying in the next 24 hours, he will make clear exactly what he means by substantial tariff hikes on India. Remember, India in its hit back, for the first time, India has completely called out America as well as the European Union, saying that what's happening right now is unreasonable, unjustified targeting. So India's stand is very clear that like any other major economy, India will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security. Donald Trump, of course, has been saying that no, it's not just 25% tariffs. It'll be a penalty over that for ties with Russia. And then yesterday has threatened India yet again over its purchase of Russian oil. But right after that, India put out a detailed statement. The MEA highlighted how EU buys oil from Russia, how US has trade with Russia, saying that despite all of that, constantly calling out India is unfair and completely unjustified.
We live in complicated and uncertain times. Our collective desire is to see a fair and representative global order, not one dominated by a few. That quest is often articulated as political or economic rebalance. But I want to say this to you: obtaining respect and ensuring dignity for societies can also be achieved through cultural prowess, especially through cultural prowess.
जिस तरीके से 25% टैरिफ की बात ट्रंप ने करके उन्हें रिश्तों में खटास पैदा की है, तो कपड़े व्यापारी को किसी भी तरीके की यहाँ सोच की दिक्कत नहीं है। हम भारत सरकार के साथ यही कहना चाहते हैं कि 35% खाली एक्सपोर्ट जो हम गारमेंट करते हैं उसका मार्केट खाली अमेरिका है, उसको हम कहीं पे भी किसी भी तरीके से दूसरे देशों के साथ में हम अपने समझौते FTA वगैरह और सरकारी नीतियों में बदलाव ला करके अपनी कॉस्टिंग कम करके और हम दूसरे मार्केटों में जा करके अपने कपड़े का भरपाई कर सकते हैं।
So let's get you the first reaction that's come in from the Ministry of External Affairs. Yes, there was a very, very strong statement last night, soon after Trump had put out another warning to India, speaking about more tariffs on India for buying oil from Russia. The MEA has responded very clearly, and important messaging here from India, that India doesn't yield to political pressure when we speak of oil imports, and it's strictly based on availability and global situations. Here's that statement from Randeep Jaiswal.
हमारा जो ब्रॉड अप्रोच, मतलब जो हमारा अप्रोच और रवैया है, उससे आप भली भांति अवगत हैं कि जो बाज़ार में, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाज़ार में जो तेल मिलता है, किस भाव पे मिलता है, और उस समय या इस समय जो भी वैश्विक माहौल है, इसको लेके हम इस पर निर्णय करते हैं। जहाँ तक स्पेसिफिक आपका सवाल के बारे में बात है, मैं इससे कोई अवगत नहीं हूँ। आई एम नॉट अवेयर ऑफ इट। आई डोंट हैव डिटेल्स ऑफ द स्पेसिफिक्स।
All right, so that was a statement from a couple of days ago. We'll get you, in fact, the latest statement from the MEA, which came in today in just a bit. But let's talk about really the impact of what we're seeing of the Trump tariffs. Which are the sectors that have been hit the worst, or that rather will be hit when it comes into effect from 7th August? First of all, gems and jewelry, because of the fact that in the GJEPC, the development they've said is very, very concerning, which is the commission essentially that looks into gems and jewelry. This could hit thousands of jobs. It could also disrupt supply chains. The tariffs could also distort prices and delay shipments as far as this sector goes. For pharmaceuticals, that's another sector that will be hit because of the tariffs. India is, in fact, the largest supplier of generic drugs. $220 billion savings to US customers in 2022, and 30% of pharma companies' revenue is actually from America. That will be hit courtesy these tariffs. Textiles and apparels as well, another sector that will be dented. Again, Indian companies are major suppliers to US retailers, and there's tough competition in this industry, in this sector, from Vietnam, from Bangladesh as well. So for them, this industry is going to be hit. What happens when these kind of increased tariffs are brought in by Trump is that the goods are no longer in competition. The rates are far too high, so everyone is going to look at a Vietnam or a Bangladesh. Similarly, electronics as well. India, very recently, in fact, became the largest mobile supplier to America. It happened this year in 2025. Apple supplies to US could be under threat. Apple phones now that are being made here, sent across, that could be under threat. Electronics were exempted from tariffs in April, but right now, we don't really know which are the exemptions and which aren't, especially with Donald Trump at the helm. Doesn't look like we can take anything for granted. Oil refineries. Well, uncertainty for obvious reasons due to the use of Russian crude oil, and especially because of Trump saying that, India is going ahead and buying from Russia and then putting it out in the open market. Nearly 37% of crude oil imports are from Russia. In the absence of that, prices will shoot right up. And so refiners' margins could actually take a big hit. Very much an issue for America. A lot of business that America has is to do with companies in India, and they too will be hit by these moves being made by Donald Trump. So India, of course, has been buying oil from Russia at discounted rates, which is why India has made it very clear that, look, we have to look out for our own interests. But India also, while doing this, was hailed as a smart move to actually stabilize global markets. But now with Donald Trump back in the White House, the tone clearly has flipped. India is suddenly being threatened with tariff penalties for doing the same thing. So why the U-turn, and how much has India really gained from Russian oil? Here's a breakdown by Business Today.
When India began ramping up its purchase of Russian crude in 2022, it wasn't under sanctions, nor was it condemned. In fact, behind closed doors, several US officials urged India to stabilize global prices by absorbing discounted Russian oil.
We kind of got past the ability of saying, oh, just follow America, you have to do exactly as we do. And we take the smaller victories, like actually they bought Russian oil because we wanted somebody to buy Russian oil at a price cap. That was not a violation or anything. It was actually the design of the policy, because as a commodity, we didn't want oil prices going up. And they fulfilled that. During G20, they were able to take Russia to the side and say, take or leave this statement, which was critical about Ukraine. It just took the word Russia out, but it was very clear. And we were able to deliver Europe. They were able to deliver Russia. That boxed in China, and it showed, again, this multiplicative relationship when we get together.
As one of the most significant global consumers of oil, we know that the Indian economy has much at stake in the Russian oil trade, and has much at stake from the global supply disruptions that the price cap is designed to avoid. The price cap's goals are to limit Putin's revenue and maintain global oil supply, essentially by creating a mechanism for India and other global consumers of oil to access Russian oil at discounted prices. The price cap's first year was a successful one by those standards. Global oil markets remained well supplied, while Russian oil traded at a significant discount to global oil.
Fast forward to 2025, and suddenly the tone has changed. President Donald Trump, in power for less than 8 months, has flipped the narrative. India is now a villain, and Trump has demanded India stop buying Russian oil altogether. The demand has been accompanied with threats of higher tariff penalties. New Delhi isn't taking the criticism lying down. Top officials have reminded Washington that oil was bought legally, transparently, and in the best interest of Indian consumers.
If more and more people were to buy from the other OPEC sources, you know what would have happened? Prices would have gone up minimum to $130, $140 a barrel. So if we were buying from any source that we could, I think we should be applauded.
Estimates of the amount of money India saved by buying Russian oil in the past 3 years range between $25 to $50 billion. In 2022, India received a discount of over $30 a barrel from Russia. The discount went down to around $20 in 2023 and further to around $9 in 2024. This year, the average discount has been around $2 to $5 a barrel. And while India defends its Russia energy links, questions are being raised here at home, especially by the Congress, about why cheaper crude did not lead to noticeably cheaper prices at the pump. If India bought oil at a discount, why did not the common citizen benefit?
40% गिरावट आई है कच्चे तेल की कीमतों में, 40% गिरावट, लेकिन पेट्रोल डीजल के दाम कम नहीं हो रहे, एक्साइज ड्यूटी की लूट कम नहीं हो रही। मुनाफा किसको हो रहा है? साफ हम बताएंगे। मुनाफा सरकारी और निजी तेल कंपनियों को हो रहा है।
The government argues that global volatility, refining costs, and taxation structures complicate a simple pass-through of crude discounts of retail fuel prices. It also blames the UPA-era oil bonds, the burden of which is being borne now. According to estimates, 52,000 crore rupees were paid as principal and interest in the last fiscal alone. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.